I 17F just recently had my stepmother 43F and my father 41M have a baby. He is now 3 months old, and was born the day after my birthday. That's not the issue though. For a bit of backstory on my family, my parents were longtime friends with what are now my step-parents, who have 2 kids. So basically my mom fell in love with their dad, my dad fell in love with their mom. They divorced and married each other. So in total I have 2 biological siblings, and 2 step-siblings. One of my step-siblings recently moved out after turning 18, so they are out of the picture, but in all I switch back and forth between my parents' houses with my 2 brothers and step-brother. All 3 brothers are younger than me, and are loud and rowdy, as young boys are. My dad and stepmom are very all over the place. They are both the forgetful parents from the couples, and are both a bit irresponsible. They have a dream to create a community on our property to teach skills of sustainable agriculture and such. Which is an amazing dream, except, in 2023, they decided to have a baby. My stepmother was 3 months into her pregnancy before we knew, and ever since the baby was born, life at my dad's has been miserable. I know it's perfectly normal for people to have another kid with their new partners after they've divorced, but they are in their 40s, raising 4 kids already, and attempting to start a business. Again, fine, but we are constantly pressured into taking care of the baby, who screams like he is being murdered whenever he experiences slight discomfort. I'm not even over-exaggerating. My dad once told me that he was in a store once, and he heard a crying baby. He thought it was coming from across the store, but when he looked behind him, he realized the crying baby was right there. That is how loud my brother is. We constantly have to take him and entertain him because they're so busy all the time. And they expect us to, because we're one big happy family. It is miserable, and I don't want to live with him anymore. I love my dad, I want to have a relationship with him, but this baby is out of control and was a terrible idea. It feels like they only wanted a baby so they could have a kid that wasn't tainted with my mom and stepdad's blood. When I asked my dad once on why he and my stepmom had a baby, he said because it's one of life's most wonderful experiences. It was selfish. They didn't think of the health impacts on their kid for having a baby at their age, they didn't think on how it would affect us, they didn't even consider that their precious angel would have to watch his siblings leave every other week, wondering why he can't go with them. Right now I'm mostly ranting because I am on a week-long vacation with this psycho baby, and had to entertain him for a 5-hour drive. If I didn't he would scream. The vacation itself has been miserable as well, because the baby cannot deal with 3 drops of pee in his diaper. I didn't want to go on this vacation, I don't want to be here, I'm 1 day in and I'm already exhausted. Mostly I want any opinions on if I should move out of his house and into my mom's when I turn 18 in about a year. Which is what my stepsister did. This baby really just makes me resent being anywhere near my dad, and I know as the baby gets older it'll be better, but I'll be off to college before that happens. Anyway, this was mostly a vent post, I want to know anyone's thoughts. Ida? Some clarification since lots of people said it. 1. I love my baby brother, and would protect him at all costs. This wasn't a post to say he should die, but a post to say it was wrong for it to have been a decision to have him. Of course he's going to scream and poop and cry, that's what babies do. I don't blame the baby for being a baby, I blame my parents for deciding a baby was what was needed in our family. 2. Despite the oddness of this divorce, it was rather clean, from what I could tell as a child. I'm not going to court and stirring up a pot when there are much easier and less destructive solutions, as said in the comments. 3. I'm aware this baby isn't going to ruin my life. I know I will face things far more difficult later in life, and scoff at my younger self for ever complaining about this. But also, as of now, I've only existed 17 years and to me that is my whole life. So of course this is going to hit me harder than someone who was 30. I know I'm just a teenager, but I truly think the decision of having a baby in a small crowded house in a stressful and emotional situation was a thoughtless idea. 4. By saying my dad and stepmom were in their 40s wasn't me saying they were old. They could totally still have a baby. Although there may have been health risks for the baby, but it felt selfish for them to have done so in this situation.